Hi, my name is Angel Velasquez.
And I'm Lila Oliver.
And this is
Nickel Plate News.
Okay.
It's been raining all month. I can't stand it anymore.
Do you know what they say about April showers? They bring May flowers.
You know what May also brings? It brings the Indy 500. Here's Luke with the Indy 500 preview.
Thanks, guys. For safety this month, we're here at the Speedway, the host of the Indy 500, the biggest race in Indiana. This, of course, obviously means the loudest, most crowded, and most important event of the year. Here are 3 ways you can stay safe while attending. First, protect your hearing. Not only is the environment around you incredibly loud, but so are the race cars, so come prepared with earplugs or earmuffs. Second, the sun. This is a 4 to 6 hour event, which is very limited shade. Make sure to have sunscreen and maybe a hat or some glasses to keep yourself protected. Lastly, make sure you're aware of crowds around you. This venue holds hundreds of thousands of people, and it is very easy to get separated. So make a meetup spot and stick to it. If you're going to the Indy 500, make sure you stay safe and have a great time. That's all for safety. Let's send it back to the anchors.
Thanks, Luke.
I'm so excited to go now.
Now that I'm 18 and I can finally vote, I don't really know much about this midterm.
You know, Kyle has information about that.
Hi, I'm Kyle Gibbons, and for your politics this month, we're going to be talking about Trump. And no matter where you stand politically, you've heard about the fast decisions, the big controversies, and the big debates. So today we're going to be doing a full check-in on his presidency of this year so far. To really understand Trump's second presidency, you have to understand this. It's not just about the policies. It's about speed, control, and long-term impact. First off, he wanted to flood the system. Unlike his first term where plans got slowed down, this time Trump came in with a much more prepared team and a clearer roadmap. The idea has been to act quickly, signing executive orders early, pushing agencies to change direction fast, and forcing opponents to react instead of organize. This strategy is sometimes described as the flooding the zone, basically doing so much at once that critics, courts, and even the media can't keep up with every single move. Next up was immigration as the centerpiece. Immigration wasn't just one issue in his plan, it was his central focus. His administration prioritized expanding detention and deporting systems, tightening asylum eligibility rules, and increasing pressure on the border, such as state and federal agencies, to enforce policies more strictly. The goal here is not just reducing crossings, but sending a strong message that the U.S. immigration policy is fundamentally changing. Supporters say this restores order and security. Critics argue it raises humanitarian and legal concerns, especially around how policies are enforced. Also, reshaping the federal government. Another huge part of the game plan is changing how the government itself operates. Trump and his allies have pushed to replace longtime federal employees with loyal appointees, reduce the power of certain agencies, and expand presidential control over decision-making. The idea is to make the executive branch more directly responsive to the president's agenda. Supporters call this draining bureaucracy. Critics warn it could be weakened checks and balances. And economic nationalism 2.0. On the economic side, Trump is doubling down on America first, but with more structure than before. This includes new or expanded tariffs on foreign goods, incentives for companies to build and hire in the U.S., and pressure on corporations that outsource jobs. The strategy is to reshape the economy towards domestic production, even if it risks trade tensions or higher prices in the short term. So, what are the controversies and criticisms? Well, of course, it hasn't been smooth. One of the biggest ongoing issues is legal challenges. Trump entered the office already dealing with multiple court cases, and those haven't just disappeared. This creates a pretty unique situation, balancing the presidency while dealing with legal pressure at the same time. Another major concern is executive power. Critics argue that some actions push the limits of presidential authority, especially when it comes to controlling federal agencies. Then there's a division in the country. Political reactions are intense, and there's obviously a clear split in how people interpret everything he does. And finally, tone and rhetoric. His communication style remains direct and confrontational, which supporters like, but critics say, increases tension. So what's next? That's it for Your Politics. I'm Kyle Gibbons. Now back to the studio.
Thanks, Kyle. Now, April Fool has already passed, but I still play pranks on my friends.
Hopefully I'm not one of them.
It's okay, you're not. But we have Josh, where he said a little jokes to some people around Fishers.
Hey guys, I'm Josh here with your entertainment news. If you've been on TikTok, Instagram, or YouTube lately, you've probably seen public pranks everywhere. Some of these pranks are marketed as harmless, but end up with police showing up, people getting arrested, and even people getting fired from their jobs.
That's crazy. For a ding-dong ditch? What?
Yeah, Zach, they got us, okay?
They got you?
They got us,
This is Deputy Murdoch. They're going to jail.
Yeah, you saw us walking out.
You're gonna get trespassed from the property.
No, you stopped us from walking to the car though.
Yeah, because you were called on.
Yeah, but we were walking out though.
So you guys need to leave or you'll be trespassed.
Well, here at Nickel Plate, our pranks are meant to make people laugh and bring joy to their day. So this April Fool's, I went around the Nickel Plate area and told people some jokes. Joke?
Sure.
Why don't eggs tell each other jokes?
Why don't eggs tell each other jokes?
Because they crack up.
Yeah?
Okay, why was the tomato scared of the salad?
Why?
Because he was scared to get dressed. Or at least that was the plan. As you can see, not everybody took kindly to my pranks. Walking up to random people and nicely pranking them is still the same as walking up to random people and pranking them. And yeah, some of them were not having it. I got rejected a lot. But that's kind of the reality of it. Not every joke's gonna land. Some people just don't want to be on camera, and some people just don't want to give you their time. So even though it didn't end up going perfectly, we still got a couple of laughs, and I still was able to share a couple jokes with people and make their days. That's all for your entertainment news. Now back to the main anchors.
Thanks, Josh. I have to use some of those jokes on my sister.
HSE school funding is something I've heard about recently.
Well, Khan got to meet with the HSE CFO, and he's here to tell you more about that.
My name is Khan, and I'm here with CFO Mr. Brown of HSE, and we're going to be asking him a few questions about HSE's budget for next year. So it's so great to have you. I appreciate your time today.
Yeah,
first question is, what are the main reasons behind the budget changes for next year?
Yeah, great question. One of the things that's interesting to kind of level set from a budget perspective is schools get funded in a couple different sources. One of those sources is the number of students attending our school district. And you wouldn't guess this, but as affluent and amazing as our community is, we're actually a declining school district. So over the last 5 years, the number of students attending HSE schools across all schools is actually dropping. And so as a result of that drop, we see less funding coming in from the state that really directly impacts, the cost and our budget. The second piece is some new legislation related to what we're calling SEA 1, which essentially changes the tax base structure in our community and communities across the state of Indiana. Ultimately, what that results in is less dollars coming in from a property tax standpoint. And so when you add on a declining enrollment in students with less money, you add on the new impacts of less property tax coming in, and then, like all of us experience in all of our lives, things just cost more. Simple things like repairs, maintenance to equipment and everything we need in the classroom, all those things cost more. So you put those three together and what you result in is more expenses and less revenue coming in, which is not a good place to be from a budgetary standpoint.
Awesome. And what areas or programs are most likely to be impacted?
Yeah, so good question. The hope is that as a student or as staff, we don't see a lot of direct impacts, but the reality is we need to cut millions of dollars from our budget. And we're a school district of over 20,000 students, 2,500 employees. So the hope is that we can make these cuts in a way that doesn't impact the day-to-day operation of the school district from a classroom standpoint. But the reality is, in some fashion, everybody will feel some impact of the budget cuts.
And how might students and possibly staff notice these changes day to day?
Yeah, so again, hopefully we don't see a lot of day-to-day impact. What we might see is maybe a little less a budget from a supply standpoint, or we might see new additions in locations or upgrades maybe not coming in as quickly as we might have wanted. The hope is, though, that the average student doesn't see a direct impact on a daily basis.
Awesome. And what steps is the district taking to basically manage or minimize the impact of these changes?
Great question. We're in the midst of what we have in place now, which is called a budget task force. And the budget task force is composed of principals, teachers, critical central office staff, directors in various entities, whether it's food service, transportation, technology. And what that group is charged to do is to try to find the necessary cuts that are going to be needed, but to do so in a way that is the least impactful to the classroom environment. As I mentioned before, everybody's going to feel it to some degree, which is not ideal but necessary. But the hope is that it's not a significant impact on students in the classroom.
Awesome. And what would the long-term impact look like on HSE? Is this going to be kind of like a short-term thing, maybe for a few years? Do we know?
Yeah, good question. A lot of this is driven from the legislative process, and every 2 years we see a new legislative budget, and that is a real big impact on our school district. Mm-hmm. The reality is expenses continue to rise, revenue continues to decline, or if nothing else, stay level. So unfortunately, I do think this will be a multi-year approach. How deep the cuts and changes have to be made in the future is yet to be determined, but the impact is certainly not going to just be a one-year impact. It'll be something that we continue to monitor for future years. Hopefully our enrollment picks back up and revenues pick back up, and it's more short-term, but the reality is we need to plan for long-term.
I gotcha. Well, I really appreciate your time today. I appreciate you coming out, and thanks guys for watching.
Yeah, thank you so much. We appreciate it.
Of course.
Yeah, absolutely.
Thanks, Con.
My favorite place to have a fun drink is somewhere called Twisters.
I've heard of it, but I've never had it.
Well, I had the pleasures to go with Juliet to go check out some fun drinks.
Let's send it to Juliet.
Twister Soda Bar is a local drink spot that's getting a lot of attention for their unique menu and drinks. With a mix of creative drinks and quick food options, it gives people something different than just your average coffee shop. They also offer more than soda. They have a seasonal menu between spring, summer, and the winter. They offer hot chocolate, coffee, and they also have a sugar-free menu. What's your job here like at Twisters?
It's a very fast-paced and fun work environment, but we're pretty much just making sodas all day. We definitely have a few regulars that come by, and that's super fun. I've never gotten to experience that before. And it's definitely a lot to learn, and memorization and everything, but it's very fun.
What's the most popular drink people order?
Definitely either the Fall Creek water or the Jaws. They're a Dr. Pepper and then a Sprite and lemonade drink.
What drink is your favorite, or which one would you recommend?
My favorite is definitely the Pretty Pretty Princess. It's pink lemonade with Sprite, strawberry, watermelon, and peach.
Now let's test it out. So I got the Jaws.
And I got the Dancing Queen.
I like it a lot. I like it a lot. I feel like if you like something sweeter and a little bit fruitier, this is the drink to go to.
This is definitely a go-to if you're not into too much sweet, but more of like a tangier, fruity vibe.
You guys should definitely check out Twisters if you guys are in the area.
Now back to Maine.
Thanks, guys.
Dude, that drink was so good. You have to go and try it out.
Well, that's the end of the newscast. Make sure to keep up with our social media as we post behind-the-scenes clips on our Instagram story. See you guys next time.
Now let's
okay,
go get that drink.
Can we go?
Let's go.
Let's go.
Come on.